Hello and welcome to a new lesson, Cultural Transmission, one of the series of lectures as a property of language. Lecture-40. Let's discuss about the topic. What is cultural transmission? Cultural transmission is a fundamental property of language. It is one of the most important properties of language. It refers to the process by which language is passed from one generation to the next through social interaction and learning. Language is something that is not acquired naturally, like walking, like running, like eating. They are all natural habits. We have some more ideas about, unlike genetic inheritance, which is biologically determined, cultural transmission relies on the ability of individuals to acquire, use, and modify language through exposure to their social environment. So what we notice here is that language is not something we inherit genetically, that if you are brown in color or if you are white in color, normally you inherit those characteristics genetically. Language is something that is transmitted through social exposure. We have another point. This property of language is crucial, is significant for the continuity and evolution of linguistic systems within communities. We move on to the next, that is to say, key aspects of cultural transmission. And what are they? The first one is learning and acquisition. Second one is social interaction. Third one is variability and change. Fourth one is adaptability. And fifth one is intergenerational continuity. Now let's discuss each one of them in detail a bit. So the first one is learning and acquisition. Language is not innate but learned. Language is not natural. Language is not spontaneous. It has to be acquired. It has to be learned. It has to be practiced. You have to make effort to learn the language. Language will not happen to you automatically, will not originate within you automatically. For this, you have to practice a lot. You have to learn a lot. You have to work hard. That is the point here. We have the next point. Children acquire language by being exposed to it in the social environment, primarily through interaction with caregivers, family members, and peers. This process involves imitation, practice, and reinforcement, allowing individuals to internalize the rules, vocabulary, and structures of their native languages. Now, we move on to the next point. Point number 2, social interaction. Language is inherently social and is transmitted through communication. Of course, communication is a fundamental aspect in sharpening your language, in sharpening your linguistic skill. It requires interaction between individuals, enabling the sharing of knowledge, ideas, and cultural practices. We have one more point. Social contexts shape how language is used and understood, influencing dialect, registers, and speech styles. Now we have third point in this direction, variability and change. Because language is culturally transmitted, it is subject to variation and change over time. Of course, language is not static. It keeps changing. And the language which does not change with the passage of time, with the changing milieu of time, that language is most likely to be dead in the long future. Different communities develop distinct languages, dialects, and linguistic norms. We have another point in this direction. Language evolves as new generations adapt and modify it to suit their needs. Of course, like in modern time, the evolution of internet or the revolution of technology has brought into light different types of words and the ways to express the ideas. We move on to the next point, that is adaptability. Language is adaptable to different cultural and environmental contexts. Language is very flexible. It keeps changing. It adapts to changing circumstances. Not only the society affects language, changing environment affects language, but language also itself adapts to the changing environment. It is so flexible. It is so adaptable. It can incorporate new words, concepts, and structures as societies encounter new experiences or technologies. So, the horizon of language is really very wide. It can accommodate new emerging terminologies without any restrictions. We have another point. For example, the introduction of the internet has led to the creation of new vocabulary and communication styles. For example, we have different types of emojis and slang words. The last point in this direction is intergenerational continuity. What is this? Cultural transmission ensures that language persists over time, even as individual speakers come and go. This continuity is essential for maintaining cultural identity and cohesion within a community. And now it is time to conclude the topic. Conclusion. In summary, cultural transmission is a defining feature of language that enables its persistence, adaptability, and diversity. And the last point is it underscores the deeply interconnected nature of language and culture, highlighting how linguistic systems are shaped by and shape the societies that use them. In brief, what I can point out is that language is a product of society and culture. Hope you understand the concept. Thank you and goodbye.